So in the yesterday's session, we have discussed about what exactly a profile, what is the use of a profile, what it can do, and how can we create our own custom profiles, and what kind of operations we can able to process with the help of profiles. And we have discussed like by using a profile, we can able to restrict or we can able to grant what applications to be get visible to a set of users who has been assigned to that profile. And at that time, inside my organization, I may be having so many applications are there, but depends upon the people's role, we can able to grant what applications to be get accessible by this user. And in those applications, what tabs to be get visible to the user by default on the tab bar. For that, we have configured the tab settings as well. And what record types to be get visible to the user, we have configured. And during the time, for every profile user, we can able to specify which record types to be get visible and which record type should be the default one, and we can able to configure with the help of with the profile. And along with that, we have discussed what objects to be get accessible by this user. Now let's see the continuation of that here. So now when coming to the object, we can configure what operations the user can able to perform inside that object here. What operations the user can able to perform inside that. We'll see practically over here. So now whenever we are granting the permission on the objects to the users at that time, for every object, Salesforce is providing 6 checkboxes to you. One is the read, second one is the create checkbox, third one is the edit, delete, view all, and the modify all. So now when you select this read checkbox, then the person can able to see the existing record which he has created in the past. Now he can view only the existing records. But he cannot able to perform any other operation. He cannot able to create any more new records here. Only the existing records he can able to see over here. He cannot able to modify the existing record. He cannot create some new records. He cannot delete the existing records. Now only the view access will be available for this user here. Let's see practically here. For example, assume that I'm having a user, development user. Let's log in into the development user. First of all, what kind of access he is having right now on these objects. Go to that users. I'm logging into the development user. Go to the account object. Open that account object over here. He is having the edit button, delete button, everything. Now, when you click on edit button, the record is in the editable mode over here. Because he is the owner. Okay, because he is the owner. Now, the owner of this user record is account record is user development. So that here this person will be the owner of the record here. So that he will be having full control on that. But my requirement is just I want to grant read only access over here. For example, assume that I'm having a bank account. Okay, I'm having a bank account. In that bank account, I have performed some transactions. I have withdrawn some money. I have deposited some money in the past. It may be 6 months or 1 year or since almost 2 years. I'm going to be using my account. Whatever the transactions that you have made by using your account, those transactions information just you can see. That's it. It's like as a static. We cannot able to modify because even though the transaction has been performed by myself, just I can able to see those transaction information. That's it. We cannot able to modify the transaction. We cannot remove those transactions from the transaction history because those are like as audit tracking. For that here, those records will be having only the read-only access for me here. Now let's see here. Now this user is the owner. This user will be the owner for this particular record. Now he can able to create the record, he can able to modify the record, he can able to delete the record. But now I want to grant only the read-only access for this user on records. Now let's see here. How can we grant read-only access? Now come out from this development user. Go to the development user's profile. Go to the development user's profile. Click on edit button. Go to the object level permissions. Inside that object level permissions, you will be having the 6 checkboxes are available over here. Now from these 6 checkboxes on this account object, what level of access that you want to grant? Read-only access. Now select that read-only access and remove the remaining checkboxes over here. Now this person just can able to see the existing record, but he cannot create any more record, he cannot modify, he cannot remove the records here. So just I'm granting that read-only access over here. Now save these changes. Now go to that users, log in into the user development user now. Open those objects. Click on that record, any of the record, whatever he has created in the past. Now this record, he will be the owner. User development will be the owner. Even though he is the owner, he will be having that sharing. Now let's see. I will show you one more option over here. When you click on my customers, here we should have the new button to create the new record. But this person is not having the rights to create this new record over here. Okay, he cannot able to add any transaction history. Just he can able to see that existing transaction history, that what he has done. So now in this kind of scenario, what happened depends upon the checkboxes which we have selected inside that profile level, object level permissions. Based on that, the associated buttons will be getting visible to you over here. Now, so now this user just will be having that see the record. He can able to see the record. That's it. He cannot able to modify. He cannot able to remove the records which are already exist. He cannot able to modify the existing records inside that. Just he can able to see read-only permission we have granted over here. Now, the second option here. Second option, the create button. Now, when the checkbox gets selected, then it will enable the new button on the tabs homepage. On the tabs homepage, so that the user can create the new records. Whenever you are selecting this create checkbox inside that profile level, then it is going to be enabling that the new button on the tabs homepage. When you click on that associated tab, it is providing all the records, and then along with that, it is providing the new button to create a new record. But that new button will not be available when you select only that read checkbox. When you select that create checkbox, then it will be enabling that here. Now, one more option over here. Upon selecting the create checkbox, read checkbox will be get selected automatically. Read checkbox gets selected automatically over here. Why? Because is once you click on that new button, then it will be providing a new page. And after entering the data inside that new record, once you click on save button, the record has to be get saved, and it has to redirect the user to the detail page. Detail page means what? View, nothing but read. So for that here, read checkbox will be getting selected automatically by default. So that here, upon selecting that create checkbox, automatically read checkbox will be getting selected here. Now, Let's see this functionality here. Now, when you go to that user's profile, this is the user profile. Click on edit a button, go to that object level. Suppose, for example, I have removed this read checkbox. When you click on create checkbox, nothing but all the checkboxes has been unselected right now for this account object. When you select this create checkbox, automatically read checkbox will be getting selected for you over here. For example, when you click on edit checkbox, then what will happen? Read checkbox and the edit checkbox will be getting selected. Now, for example, when you click on edit checkbox, then delete checkbox, then edit checkbox, and the read checkbox both will be selected. After the different dependency over here, if you want to remove the record, then you should have the edit permission. And then to edit that record, first of all, you should read that record. For that here, edit checkbox and the read checkbox both will be getting selected over here. Now, observe this one here. Just I'm going to be granting that read permission and the edit permission, or just I'm going to be granting that create permission. Now, in the profile level, I have granted that only the create or only the read. Okay, only the read. In the profile level, I have given only the read permission over here. Save these changes. Now, go to the OWD of that object here. Sharing settings and the OWD. So what is the OWD for this account object? Public read write. Okay, public read write. Nothing but everybody can able to see my record. Everybody can able to modify my record as well. The records which has been created by the users, those records will be visible to everybody, and then those records can be modified by those people as well. Now, nothing but OWD is granting what? Full permission. Okay, OWD is granting what? Full permission here. In the object level, let's see. So why I'm giving this information is there is an interview point of view question is available over here. Now, we are having that object. On that object level, we have specified that OWD. Now, on top of that OWD, we are having that profile. Whenever the user is trying to be performing that operation, okay, whenever the user is trying to performing the operation inside my object, then first of all, the request will be forwarding to that force.com platform. From there, the request will be going to that associated profile. Nothing but based on that request, in that request, what it contains the requested URL, nothing but the requested page URL and the IP address of your system and the operating system details, browser information, session ID, farm data, everything will be available along with that organization ID to which this user is associated and the ID of that user also inside that organization. Now, based on that organization ID, it will be verifying that whether do we have any organization with this particular ID or not. That will be verified by the force.com platform. Once it has been verified, okay, once it has been verified, then it is going to be getting the user ID of that particular user, and then with that user ID, it will go to that associated profile. Already we have discussed about that. Okay, already we have discussed about that. Now, for every user, we are going to be assigning a profile. Nothing but you have to create the profile first, and then we have to create the users next. So that here, between that user and the profile, we are having that one-to-many association is there. Sorry, profile to user, we're having one-to-many association is there. That too, this is a master detail association. Okay, that too, this is a master detail association over here. Now, if you want to see that association's data model, then we can able to cross-check that data models as well. Now, between the users and the profiles. Now let's see over here. Now, when you observe over here, you will be having the user object. This is a user object. Now this user object will be associated with the profile. Here's the profile object here. Now one profile will be having the multiple users. Okay, one profile will be having multiple users. Now this profile is associated with what? Profile is associated with user license. Profile is associated with user license. So now every profile should be associated with one user license, but one user license will be associated with multiple profiles. Okay, multiple profiles are available here. Now every user will be associated with a role. Okay, every user will be associated with a role. Now between the two roles, one role can be assigned to multiple users. Okay, one role can be assigned to multiple roles over here. Sorry, one role can be assigned to multiple users, but every user should be associated with only one role. So now observe this, what happened here. We have the profile license, and then the license is going to be having the multiple profiles, and then these profiles can be assigned to the multiple users over here. So now every user will be having the user record access table. Now this user record access table will be having all the information on which record which user is having the permissions. That will be storing inside that user record access. Now, so now let's see here. Come to our instance. So now in this case, okay, in this case, when coming to the object level, we have given that public read write here. Public read write means what? Full access. Now the OWD is giving the full access here. Now what about this profile here? What this profile will do? Now the profile will grant the same access, or the profile will restrict that visibility as well. Now let's see. So now when coming to the OWD, it has granted the public read write, and when coming to my profile, I have granted only read access. Now let's go to those users here. When you go to that users, any user who can log in. Now when you click on that login, I have logged in as a development user. When you open that record, just I'm giving that I'm getting the read only access over here. I cannot able to create any more record. Public read write means what? Everybody can able to see, everybody can able to modify the record, but I'm not getting that right access. Nothing but what happened, even though the OWD granting the full access to the user, but the profile is restricting that access over here. Nothing but what happened, when coming to the profile is going to be working on top of that OWD, even though the OWD is giving the full rights to the users on these records, but the profile is restricting those accesses. Just it is granting only the read-only access over here. Now, I will show you one more option right now. Come to the profile level. In that profile level, you will be having that two permissions called as view all. View all means what? The user can able to see all the records created by the other users in the organization. Irrespective of the user, everybody's record we can able to see over here. That flexibility will be available to you. And thus they can able to view, not the modification. Only view. Now modify all. The profile users can view and modify the records created by all the other users in the organization. Here we can able to view and edit access both. Now observe this one here. When coming to the OWD, if the OWD is private, then what it means? Only the owner of the record and his manager will be having the full rights on this record. The other people cannot able to see. Now, so now here for these users, I'm granting the access as view all and the modify all. If I'm granting view all, then observe what will happen in this case. Let's try with this scenario. I'm logging out from this one. Go to that OWD, sharing settings. Click on edit button in the OWD. Go to the account object, make it as private, save. Now it is in the process. Nothing but Salesforce is processing my request to assign to change this OWD of this account object. Just refresh that. My request is not yet processed because it is indicating that the organization-wide default update has been initiated by user. It is not yet completed. Now it is done. Okay, my request has been processed by Salesforce here. Now, in the OWD level for the account object, I have granted the visibility as private. Now, private means what? Only the owner of this record and the one manager of the user will be having the access on that record. The other people inside the organization will not be having the access on the record. Now, let's see here. Now, what will be the visibility? Now we will see. Now, I will log in as a user. I will create a record. Now, let's see. I would like to log in as a different user. I'm logging as some customer user. Click on login. Now, when coming to the customer user, I'm creating a new record. This is a new customer type. I'm giving the record name as view all permission test. View all permission test account. I'm entering the required details to create the record. I'm entering the rating value, fax number, employees, and the annual revenue. And the remaining field values also I'm entering over here in order to create that record. I'm making this account record as active. Now, I have entered all the details to create the record. Click on save button. Now this record has been created. Okay, now this record has been created. This user is a owner. Okay, this user is a owner here. Now, as a owner, this person will be having the full rights on this record so that he will be having the edit button, delete button, sharing, everything is available. Now, what about the other users inside the organization here? Now, I will log in as a development user now. Log in as a development user. Let's verify what will be the rights he is having access on that record. Whether that record is visible to this person or not. Now the record is visible or not. View all permission test account. Okay, view all permission test account is available here. So now why this record is visible to him? Because we have created a sharing rule. Okay, we have created a sharing rule. Now what I want to do is I want to change that record settings here. Like login as that user, nothing but I am the manager of that user so that I can able to have the full control on that. I'm changing that options. View all permission test account. Because we have created a record, if the customer industry is equals to some healthcare and the rating equals to heart, and if it is the ownership equals to some value and the active status equals to yes, we are sharing that record over here. Now I am going to be making it as no. Active status no. Make it save. Now let's see whether this development user is able to access my record or not. Log in into the development user. Go to that my customers. Get all the records. Still the record is visible. Let's see why this record is visible to him. Have we created any sharing rules? Account object codability is private. Active status equals to yes. Rating equals to heart. Industry equals to banking. And the ownership is equals to public. Then it will be granting the access to that Hyderabad group users. It will be having read write. Let's go to the development users profile. What kind of permissions he is having inside the profile right now? The object table is not having the view all permission. He is having just the read permissions over here. What are the public groups are available here? Customer user, testing user, that's it. Now development user and the customer user. Customer user will be having only a few accesses. Is a platform profile user. Will be having the accesses on that. Now, so now when the object's wordability is private, it has to make that record to be get visible to the only the owner of the record and his manager as well. The other users inside the organization cannot able to see that record over here. Now let's see. So now we have logged in as the customer user. We have created a record. Now that record we haven't shared manually. And then this record is visible to the development user right now as well. How come it is visible to him? Now, let's go to that sharing rule as well. In the profile level also, he is not having the permissions. Let's create one more record by the testing user. I'm creating one more record. Testing user record. I'm entering the required details to create that record. Industry value I'm giving like as a manufacturing. I'm giving this active status as some yes. Now I'm saving this record. Now my record has been saved successfully. There is a user testing will be the owner for this record. And this record should not be visible to the other users inside that organization. Only the manager and the owner of the record we should be having the access on that record because the account object's portability is private. Now, other users inside the organization should not be having the access on that record over here. Now, let's log in into that other user, like as a manager user, my customers. Now this person is not having the access on the record. Okay. Log in as that customer user now. Let's verify. This record is not also not visible to this user. And when you go to the development user, get that records. Now that record is not visible over here. Testing user record will not be visible over here. Now the record is not available to these users over here. Just they can able to see these records over here. Now, in this case, what happened over here? Whenever you are going to be making the object's portability as private, then only the owner of the record and the other users inside the only that record owner and the manager of that record will be able to access that record. And the other users inside the organization will not be having the access on that. But in your profile, whenever you are selecting the view all, then this profile user can able to see all the records created by all the users inside that organization, irrespective of the role, irrespective of the profile. Okay, irrespective of the role, irrespective of the profile, everybody's record will be visible to him. Now, nothing but what happened when coming to the OWD, OWD is going to be granting that private access, nothing but very low level of access. But when coming to the profile level, what we have granted view all. Nothing but view all means what happened? This view all permission is going to be overriding that OWD. Forcefully, it will be making each and every record to be get visible to this profile users. So now, when coming to the OWD, even though the OWD is granting the very basic level of access, then the profile is going to be overriding the OWD. It is going to be forcefully getting all the records and these records to be visible to that user. When you specify that view all permission. Okay, when you specify that view all permissions. Now, suppose if the profile is going to be, sorry, if the OWD is granting the full access, but at that time profile is restricting the access over here. Now, even though the profile is OWD is granting public read write, then the user can able to read, user can able to write, nothing but modify the record. But in the profile level, if you are granting only read access, then the user will be getting only read access over here. You cannot able to perform any other option. Nothing but what happened on top of the OWD, we are having that profile. So that if the OWD is granting the low level of access, then the profile will override that OWD. It will be making the more access to that users. If the OWD is granting the full access, then the profile is restricting that access over here. So that here, when coming to the profile level, in profile level, we are having these two permissions over here, like as view all and the modify all. So now view all means what? The user which is having the view all permission inside his profile, that user can able to see the records of all the other users inside that organization. Just the view access only, not the edit access. If you're having that modify all permission, at that time, the user who is having the modify all permission, his profile level, at that time, this user can able to see the records of each and every other users inside the organization, as well as he can able to modify the records also, which has been created by other user. He may be his sibling, he may be his subordinate, he may be anybody also here. He can able to see the all other people records available. So now for that here, even though the OWD is granting the very low level of access, now these view all and the modify all permissions are going to be overriding that OWD automatically here. Now this question is very, very important when coming to the entry point of view. Now which options in the profile will override the OWD? View all and the modify all permissions in the profile will override the OWD here. Nothing but when the OWD is granting very low level, then profile will override that OWD. Forcefully, it will be getting the more access to that particular profile users here on the records. Now, let's make a note here. View all and modify all permissions in the profile will override the OWD. That is, if the objects OWD equals to some private and the user profile access equals to some view all or modify all, then the user will get the access on the records created by all other users in the organization, irrespective of the profile, and role, irrespective of the profile and the role. So now this is the permission given by that Salesforce to you. Now, when the OWD is going to be giving the full access, then profile will restrict that access. When the OWD is granting the low level of access, then profile will override that access here. Now, so this is the way we are having that modify all and the view all permissions inside that profile. The next one, when coming to the profile level, we can able to specify the permissions of that password policies also. What password policies we can able to specify? Yeah.
Can you please practically show how to edit and make that view all and modify all options?
Okay. Now, so now when coming to the view all permission, when you go to the development user, go to the development user profile. Select that view all. I'm not granting the create permission. Let's grant the create permission also. Now view all permission. Now at that time, the user who is associated with this profile, he can able to see the records of all the other users inside the organization. Now I have granted that view all permission over here for the account object. Let's go to that save. Now login as user, development user. When you go to that customers, now this person can able to see the records of all the other users inside the organization. Now all this record, totally 34 records are available here. This record may be created by the administrator also. This record may be created by his sibling also. This record may be created by his superior also. This record may be created by his subordinate also here. Everybody's record will be visible to this person, particular user here. Now, So now this user can able to see all the other users' record. Nothing but all the records are visible over here. Each and every record we can able to see. All the records are visible. When you open this record, just he will be having the read-only access here. Who has created this record? User testing has created this record. Who is the currently logged in user? User development. Nothing but even though the record has been created by the user testing, now this record is visible to the development user over here. Now, when you go to that records, now manager user account record. This here record owner is nothing but the user manager. Nothing but even though this record is the manager user's record, nothing but this user will be having the access on that particular user manager's record also here. Even though he haven't shared that record explicitly, now this person will be getting the access on that record forcefully here. Now, so nothing but view all permission is going to be granting the access on all the other users records to this particular person. Now, let's see that modify all permission. Go to the development users profile, open that profile, click on that checkbox modify all. Select that modify all. Now modify all checkbox I have selected. Now observe this one here. When you select that modify all permission, the edit checkbox and delete checkbox has been selected automatically by default. Now, let's save this record. I'm saving this profile. Now let's go to that user now. This user is having the full access right now. Login as the development user. Go to the account object. Get all the account records. Open those records over here. Like we will be having the records. Texting user record. Now this user record is created by this user testing. But even though this record has been created by the testing user, now this person can able to see that record. He can able to edit this record also. When he click on edit button, the person can able to modify these record values. Number of employees, I'm changing some value to some different value. And then I'm changing this value of the ownership from private to subsidiary. Now click on save. Now this person can able to modify these record values as well. The person can able to modify these record values as well. Nothing but what happened, whenever you are going to be making that object's portability as the private, and if any of the user's profile is having that view all permission, then this user can able to access the records of all the other users inside the organization. If you're having that modify all permission, then this user will be getting that modify permission also on that record. Now, the full access will be available for these users over here. Whenever you are making that objects in the profile levels, option as view all and the modify all. Now, let's go to that. The next permission like as a system.
Excuse me, Feroz.
Yeah, tell me.
Feroz, what is the control over here? Because if if the user is thinking that the record is private and others cannot edit, if he is thinking like that, and if the profile overrides it, how does the original user know who is going to modify his record or something like that? How does he have a control over the other?
At that time, whenever if anybody has modified the record, in that record level, he will be having modified by field is available. In that modified by field, it is going to be tracking that this is the person who has modified my record and who has changed some field values inside that. And along with that, on that record, you will be having that field tracking. So that in that field tracking, it is going to be logging that this is the person has modified our record on so and so date and so and so time. These field values he has modified. This is the old value. This is a new value. So with that field tracking and the last modified by field, we can able to track this is the user has modified.
So yeah, email will also be sent to the user.
Sorry.
Whether an email will be, is there an email option when a record is changed or modified? Is there an option like email sent to the owner of the record?
So for that one,
about
if
the
you,
modification.
so about the modification, if you want to send an email notification to that particular owner, then we can able to create that through programmatically. We can able to create that, or else we can create a workflow. In that workflow, we can able to specify whenever the record has been modified, we can send the email notification to that record owner.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Now the next one here. When coming to the profile level, we will be having few more permissions. Let's see here. Let's go to his profile, training Salesforce profile. Inside that profile, you will be having some more permissions over here, like as password policies and the session settings. Let's edit this profile. Come down. You will be having that session settings available here. Nothing but already you are aware of what exactly is session. Session is nothing but a time duration between login and the logout. Login and the logout. Now from the login till logout, what are all the various operations that you have performed? Everything we can able to track with the help of a session ID. Whenever the user is going to be authenticated successfully inside that organization or inside that application, now that application server or the web server is going to be allocating some amount of memory inside that application level. In the server level, it is allocating some amount of memory over here. Now in that memory, it is going to be storing all the details about that user who is performing the operations inside that application from login to till logout. In order to identify that memory location, it is allocating one unique identification number called as session ID. Once the user has been successfully authenticated, his user ID and the password has been validated, then along with that response, it is going to be sending that session ID also. From the second time onwards, keep on the session ID will be moving around these particular applications here. Because session ID is going to be indicating what I'm already authenticated. So don't ask me to provide the username and the password again. Now, once the session memory has been getting allocated inside that application level or in the server level, then in order to identify that session memory, it will be using one unique identification number that is called as session ID. That session ID will be getting generated by that application server or the web server. Now, at that time, for that session memory, it is going to be allocating some time duration here. It may be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or 2 minutes, or whatever, depends upon the application. We can configure that. At that time, what happened? Suppose by default, it is configuring some 20 minutes or half an hour. Now, for example, I have logged into my Gmail application. Now, today morning at 10 o'clock, I have logged into my Gmail application. Till 10:30, I have sent some mails and I have checked some mails also, which has been sent by my friends. At 10:30, I got a call. Okay, I got an interview call. I went outside. I haven't signed out my Gmail application. It's already logged in. Now at 10:30, I got a call and I came outside here. I have attended the call for around 45 minutes. Okay, I have attended that call for around 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, when I came back to my system, when I click on that inbox link, then it will be redirecting me to that login screen again. Nothing but what happened, the session has been expired. Nothing but what it means is whenever the Salesforce or whenever the any of the application server is going to be allocating some session memory inside that application server, then it is allocating some time duration here. Nothing but this is the time period till this session will be in idle state. This will be in idle state. Nothing but within that specified time period, if the user did not send any request, if the user did not raise any request, if the user did not perform any operation, then automatically this session memory will be getting expired. This session memory will be getting released from that memory here. Why? Because is if the user is not using that memory, then what is the need of keeping that memory over here? Because not only this user, some other people are also trying to be accessing my application. At that time, this memory we will be allocating to some other people as well. So for that here, when coming to the application server, it is going to be keeping track every time how long time we can able to make it as idle. Okay, how long time we can able to make it as idle here. Keep on, it won't store like the same way. Suppose when you go to the banking application, assume that I have swiped my card and then I have entered the PIN number. Now I have selected that option also here. Nothing but I want to perform that withdraw option. Now, whenever I'm pressing that amount value, then suddenly I got a call, which is an emergency call for me here. I'm attending that call here for 1 minute. Then what will happen? The session will be getting expired. Again, it will ask you to swipe the card again. Nothing but what happened here, whatever the memory it has allocated, that will be getting expired for a specific fraction of second, minutes or seconds itself here. Because depends upon the application, we can able to specify how long time that application memory should be in idle state. Within that ideal state, if the user did not raise any request, then automatically it will be thought of this user is not going to be using our application now, so that here no need to provide that application again, so that just it will be removing that the session memory over here. If the session memory has been released, then ID will be getting expired. When the user click on that login here after half an hour or after 1 hour, then it will be sending that session ID. The session ID is already expired, so that it will be giving that, identifying that the session is now no more available right now, so that it will be redirecting the user to that login screen again. For that here, it is going to be maintaining the session timeout here. Now, then how long time you want to maintain the session timeout for your Salesforce application right now? For that here, it will be giving that options to you. Then how long time you want to maintain as inactivity? 15 minutes. Now 15 minutes of inactivity, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours. Depends upon your requirement, we can able to specify then how long time you want to maintain as that inactivity here. Nothing but till that particular 15 minutes, it will be wait here, and once the 15 minutes, within that 15 minutes, if you did not raise any request, if you did not perform any operation, then automatically it is going to releasing the memory, so that it will be redirecting you to the login screen of your Salesforce account again. So for that here, it is going to be providing these options to you. How long time you want to maintain that session settings, that we can able to configure over here. The next one, the password policies. Now for this particular profile, we are going to be assigning some users. Now these users are going to be logging into my application by providing their username and the password. Whenever if the user is going to be providing the password, then what will be the password policies that you would like to process? Like whenever you are going to be giving some password for some application, then it is compulsory restricting that you should have minimum 8 number of characters, maximum of some 20 characters. In that password, you should have one alphabet, one capital letter mandatorily, one special character mandatorily, one numerical number mandatorily here. Then how long time this password will be available? Do I need to reset that password for every 45 days? Or do you want to maintain the password lifelong, the same password? Or what? Depends upon the organization, they will be configuring all these options over here. Now, if the password has been entered multiple times wrong, then how long time that we need to maintain? Nothing but how many invalid attempts that we need to maintain over here. If the password has been blocked, then what we can do? Do we need to reset this password by contacting the administrator, or automatically it has to get reset here? Then how can we implement that? We'll see practically here. For that one, it is giving the so many options to you. Now user passwords expire in. The first option is user password expires in. Nothing but how long time that you would like to maintain the same password. Because when you go to some IT organization, then they will be configuring that application in such a way, those applications will be maintaining the passwords only for some 45 days or 30 days, where for every 45 days we have to change the password again. Now here also in our Salesforce, it is going to be indicating that how long time you want to maintain the same password. Now either 90 days or 30 days or 60 days, 180 days, 1 year, never expires. Suppose when you go to the Gmail application, I have created the Gmail account since almost 3 years back, but the same password I'm continuing still. I haven't changed any password as of now. This application not force me to change the password, then what is the need of changing the password again? I would like to continue the same password over here. For that, what happened? For few applications, no need to change the password here. You can continue lifelong the same password. But for few applications, like as a banking application, for every 3 months or for every 2 months, it will be asking you to change the password over here. For when you go to that real-time in the implementations, when you go to that organization, they will be allocating a system to you. That system password you have to change for every 30 days or every 45 days. It is keep on reminding to you whenever you are logging into the system, it is giving that information. Your password will expire in 2 days, your password will expire in 4 days, your password will expire in 5 days here. So that please change the password, please change the password, please change the password. In order to maintain the better confidentiality and the security for your data. Now, so for that it is giving that information, user passwords expires in. Nothing but how many days the password has to be get used, and after that how long time, like when the password has to be get expired. For every 60 days, the user has to change the password. Or every 90 days, you have to change the password. You can specify that. The next one, enforce password history. Nothing but whenever you are changing that password, then in some organizations or in applications, it will be having some restriction. Your new password cannot be equivalent to the previous three passwords or the previous two passwords, previous four passwords here. Then when coming to the Salesforce, how many previous passwords that you want to remember? When coming to the Salesforce, it is giving the flexibility till the previous 24 passwords. Nothing but your new password should not be equal to the previous 24 passwords. So that here, that much of flexibility will be available here. Now, no password remembered. Nothing but every time we can give the same password also here. Now, previous one password remembered. Two passwords remembered. Nothing but the previous two passwords. Previous three passwords, four passwords, like that up to 24 passwords it can able to remember to you over here. Nothing but depends upon the security we can able to maintain that here. Generally here, the people are going to be giving the 3 or 4 or 5. Now here Salesforce is giving up to 24, nothing but the previous 24 passwords it will remember automatically for you. Now, the maximum password length, nothing but what will be the number of characters that we need to enter a minimum password length. This is a minimum number of characters here. Next one, while giving the password, then what will be the password complexity requirements here? Now, do we want to enter any data, nothing but any characters, or compulsorily do we need to maintain one capital letter and one small letter and one the special character, one numerical number, like that? What will be the restrictions over here? It is giving that options to you. Now, no restriction, you can enter whatever you want. Must mix alpha and the numeric characters, nothing but it will be like as a alpha numerical character. The second one, must mix alphabetical characters, numerical and the special characters. And the fourth option, must mix numbers and uppercase and lowercase letters. And the last one, must mix numbers, nothing but numerical values, uppercase and lowercase letters, and the special characters also. Nothing but this depends upon your requirement. We can able to specify these options over here. Nothing but what will be the password complexity that you want for this particular profile users. Now, password question requirement here. Now, the password question cannot be having that value. The maximum number of invalid attempts here. Nothing but how many attempts that you would like to accept here. Suppose when you come into the banking application, whenever you are going to be specifying that the 3 times invalid attempt, then automatically your account will be getting blocked. So now, like the same way here, how many invalid attempts that you would like to accept here? For that, maximum invalid attempts here. Now you want to specify 3 or 5 or 10 or no limit. Depends upon your need, we can configure that. Now, if the password has been locked, nothing but I have entered 3 times the password has been locked here. When coming to the general applications, what we can do, we have to contact our administrator. Now the administrator will reset the password over here. Now, sometimes what happens when you go to the bank accounts, whenever you are using that ATM cards from the ATM machine to withdraw the money, at that time, if you have entered some 3 times wrong PIN number, then automatically that account will be getting blocked for 24 hours here. That will be automatically reactivated after 24 hours by default. Like the same way here, when coming to the Salesforce, then how long time you want to make it as blocked? After how long time you would like to reactivate this account again? For that, it is giving that option 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or forever. Nothing but at that time, forever means this cannot be resetted automatically. If you want to reset that, then we have to contact your Salesforce administrator. Then the administrator will reset your password over here. Now, for that, you have to specify these options over here. So now, when coming to the Salesforce, here. Now, in this kind of scenario, how can we reset the password for the users? Now, when you go to that users at the administrator, you will be having the button called as reset password. Okay, reset password. If any of the user is facing some problem while logging into that application, then he will raise a request to you as that I'm unable to log in into my application. So please reset my password so that I will change my password again. At that time, you have to select that user's checkbox, nothing but go to that associated user's checkbox and click on reset password. Automatically, that your password has been getting resetted. The reset password link will be getting forwarded to that user's email ID. Now the user will click on that link. He will be changing the password automatically here. The flexibility will be available to you. Okay. So now this is a way here that we can able to configure. Now, let's see the few more options here. Now session settings timeout as well. And then after that, we can able to specify the Apex classes. what Apex classes we can able to grant access to that user. So at that time, we can able to specify that Apex classes also. When you go to that user's profile, when you go to that user's profile, you will be having that last options. Now, enabled Apex classes, nothing but on what Apex classes you would like to grant access to this user. So for that here, if there is any Apex classes are available, then we can able to select those Apex classes by click on this editor button. When you click on editor button, whatever the Apex classes are available, all these Apex classes will be getting populated over here. From that, we can able to select these Apex classes as well. Now, if there is any visual force pages are available here, okay, if there is any visual force pages are available, then on these visual force pages, these users will not be getting the access by directly. So that we have to select those visual force pages also here. When moving forward in the development sessions, we'll see how to create these Apex classes, how can we design our own visual first pages, and how can we grant the access on these users. We'll see practically over here. Now, the next one, two more important features here. Login IP ranges and the login hours. So what exactly is login IP ranges and what exactly the login hours over here? So now suppose for example, we are having a banking application. We are having a banking application. Let's assume that we are having a banking application. So now this is my banking application. So now this banking application has been installed inside a server. Okay, inside a server. Assume that this is my server, an application server. This is an application server. Now when coming to the banking application, where we can access this banking application within the bank network only here. We are having so many banks are available, nothing but the multiple branches. Now assume that this is a bank branch. And then I'm having one more bank branch is available here. Another branch. And I'm having another branch. So now assume that this branch is an SR Nagar branch. SR Nagar branch. And this is some Madhapur branch. And the third one is this is some Secunderabad branch. Now these are the three branches are available. In each and every branch, we are having some employees are available here. Nothing but some bank employees are there. In every branch, we are having some bank employees are available over here. Only these bank employees can able to access my application. Inside my bank, I'm having some set of employees are available. I'm having some bank employees. I'm having some bank employees are available. In each and every branch, I'm having some bank employees are available. He may be a cashier, he may be a manager, he may be a person who is going to be depositing the money, whatever here. Now, in this kind of scenario, in each and every branch, they will be having a network. Nothing but the LAN network is available here. In every branch, they will be having that LAN network. They have that LAN network. By using this LAN network, these people are going to be accessing my applications because they are using the systems inside my bank. Okay, they are using the systems inside my bank. So now here, when coming to this particular LAN network here, in every branch they will be having that LAN network. Now there is a LAN network is available. So now this is nothing but the LAN network. So now this is the LAN network that we have. For every LAN network, they will be having some ranges. Nothing but IP ranges will be there. Okay, there will be some IP ranges are available for this one. Nothing but what happened? It contains the starting IP address. It will be having that ending IP address. Nothing but what happened for each and every branch. Okay, for every branch they will be having this information. Okay, for every branch they will be having this starting address and the ending address is available here. Now for each and every branch we will be having that LAN will be there inside a branch, and those people will be accessing that by using this implementation. Now for this one they will be having that LAN network, and for this branch also they will be having that LAN network. So now for each and every branch they will be having some LAN network is available here. So now whenever the people are going to be accessing this particular application, okay, then first of all here we can able to restrict this application that this bank application can be accessible within that specific IP ranges only here. Suppose for example I'm a bank employee, I'm a manager. Now today there is a so much work is there, but because of sick I'm unable to attend the bank. I'm not able to attend to the office here. Then what we can do? Generally, if it is an IT company, we can take it as a work from home option. But for a bank employee, do we have any work from home option? No. Why? Because is that person cannot able to access that bank application from the outside of the bank network. So now why? Because is that application has been developed and it has been restricted in such a way that application can be accessible only in the specified network IP ranges only. So now for that here, the bank application cannot be accessed from the outside. So at that time, these people cannot able to work from home as well. Now, when you go to your Salesforce also, we can able to restrict this application that this application can be accessible only in the specified branches from the specified IP ranges itself. That flexibility is available when coming to the Salesforce also. Now, when coming to the Salesforce, if you want to restrict that application to be accessible within the specified IP ranges of the network, then we can able to use these IP ranges. By using this login IP ranges, why? Because is already we have discussed, whenever you are going to be logging into a Salesforce application, Salesforce is going to be not only tracking your requested URL, it is tracking your system's IP address also. At the time of login, it will be verifying this IP address will be comes under the trusted IP address of your network ranges or not. If this IP address is available inside that range, then only it will be allowing you to log in into the application, or else it will be giving that information invalid, nothing but you cannot log in into that application. So now, nothing but like as a banking application, Salesforce is also having that much of privileges. It is having that much of permissions that we can able to restrict that Salesforce application can be accessible within the specified IP ranges of the systems itself. From the outside of that network, we cannot able to access that. That flexibility will be available in Salesforce. Now, so at that time, how can we specify this network here? Now, when coming to this application, how can we specify this login IP ranges here? Now, this login IP ranges we can applicable in two ways. One is you want to applicable this login IP ranges for all the users inside the organization, or you want to applicable only some specific profile users here. Okay, only for some specific profile users. Now, in this kind of scenario here, observe this one. When you go to this bank branch, now this branch will be having some employees. This branch will be having some employees. This branch will be having some different employees. Now, in this case, Two scenarios came into the picture. Now, if there is any employees available inside the SR Nagar ICICI branch, that person has to access that application only from SR Nagar branch only. Now, he cannot able to go to the Madhapur branch. He cannot access that bank application from the Secunderabad branch, even though he is a bank employee here. But when coming to our IT company, what happened? Assume that we are having that IT company. I'm working as a software engineer. Now, I'm working in US. Okay, I'm working in US. Now, because my company branch is also there in US, so that I can able to access that system by connecting to that LAN network of that organization. And I can able to access my application from my branches as well. And because of some personal work, because of the vacation, I came to India. Okay, I came to India. Whatever the application that I'm working on, that application I can able to access by going to the Hyderabad branch also here. When coming to the Hyderabad, we are having a development center is there from my organization. No, at that time, what happened? I can go to the Hyderabad branch because there is some emergency release is there, which needs my presence. So that even though I'm in the vacation, I go to my office here. But I'm in India right now. I cannot go to that US again. So that in India, in Hyderabad, we are having a development center. So that I can go to my development center over here. I can connect my system. I can access my application. I can able to perform operations on that. Nothing but what happened, you want to applicable for all the users or you want to applicable only for the specific users. Now in this case here, for the bank employees, these people can able to access that application only from the respective branch only. One branch member cannot able to access that application from the another branch here at that time, because every branch will be having their own IP ranges are available. Now each and every IP ranges we can able to add it inside this bank application. Like the same way here also, when coming to the Salesforce, depends upon that user. Nothing but assume that this profile is nothing but the SR Nagar ICICI branch user's profile. Another profile is a Madhapur branch employees profile. Another profile is which is like some Secunderabad branch profile. At that time, for all these profile users, you can able to specify this one. Or else, if you want to applicable this for all the users, then we can able to specify in a common way. Now, how can we specify these login IP ranges? Now, let's see practically over here. In order to specify this login IP ranges, we can able to add not only one branch IP ranges, we can able to add the multiple branch IP ranges also here. For this branch, one IP range will be there. For this branch, another IP ranges will be there. For this branch, another IP ranges will be there. So that we can add multiple branches IP ranges also. Now, at that time. So now in this kind of scenario here, let's see. How can we add this login IP ranges? If you want to add for the specific profile users, then go to that profile. Inside the profile, you will be having that login IP ranges option. Click on new. Now in this one, you can specify the starting IP address, ending IP address, and you can add the description. Nothing but this is some SR Nagar branch, the employees profile. Now in the SR Nagar branch, you have configured the LAN network. That LAN network starting IP address, ending IP address you can configure over here. So that whenever the users are trying to be logging from this particular application, then first of all, the Salesforce is going to be looking into the profile. Nothing but to which profile this user is associated. Now, at that time, it will be moving this request to the profile level here. Now this user is having the rights to log in into the application or not. So at that time, what it will do, it is going to be getting the IP address of the system. Now it will be verifying whether this IP address is comes under that IP ranges which we have configured inside the profile or not. If it is correct, then only it will be allowing you to access that application, or else it will be denying your access over here. So now for that, we can able to specify that. For every profile level, we can able to specify this information. Or if you want to configure in the organization level, okay, organization level, then go to that security controls. Inside that administrator menu, go to that network access. Okay, go to that network access option. In that network access, it will be giving the option to add the trusted IP ranges here. Okay, add the trusted IP ranges. Now click on new button, specify the starting IP address, ending IP address, and specify the description, then click on save. Automatically here it is going to be adding that. Now it is giving this information. Enter the range of valid IP addresses from which the user logins are trusted. Okay, from which the user logins are trusted here. User logging in from trusted IP addresses are not asked to activate their computers. Directly they can able to access that. That flexibility will be available to you over here. Now, whenever you are going to be logging into this application, then security token will not be available. We'll see what exactly the security token option over there in the future. Now, so now for that here, we can able to configure that login IP ranges as well. You can specify the starting IP address and the ending IP address. For every profile users, if you want to make it separate, then we can add in the profile level. For all the users inside the organization, you want to make it common, then you can specify in the organization level by going to the security controls. Inside that, you will be having network access over here. That flexibility will be there. Now, one more option here. The last option is login hours. So what exactly is login hours? Now let's see practically. This question is very, very important in the entry point of view in the certification also over here. So now when coming to the login hours, for example, when coming to the banking application, so this is the branches are available here. When coming to this banking application, now this SR Nagar branch will be available for a specific time period. Like as the bank timings are morning 8 a.m. to evening 8 p.m. This is the 12 hours banking here. This is the 12 hours. Now SR Nagar ICICI Bank will be running for morning 8 a.m. to evening 8 p.m. But when you go to that Madhapur branch, this Madhapur branch will be getting starting from 10 a.m. in the morning to evening 4 p.m. And the Secunderabad branch will be starting from morning 8 a.m. to evening 6 p.m. Now this is the timings of this branch over here. These are the timings of the branch. Now depends upon the time also. We can able to grant the visibility here, grant the access on that application. Suppose for example, assume that I'm a bank manager. Okay, I'm a bank manager. Now in the past 2 days, I'm in a vacation. Okay, due to some leaves, due to some sick, I'm in a vacation due to some personal work. Now so much task is in pending. So now I want to go to the bank a bit early, and then I want to complete my task here. Now in this case, what will happen? The bank timings will be starting by some 10 o'clock. Can I go to the bank to 8 o'clock? No. Why? Because even though when you go to the bank at 8 o'clock, I cannot able to access that bank application. Why? Because the bank application will be accessible only from morning 10 o'clock itself here. Maybe I'm also a bank manager. Even though I'm a bank manager, I cannot able to access that application before the bank timings. Because that application has been restricted that it is not only accessing in the specified bank network, it will be accessing within the specified timings as well here. Okay, it will be accessing within the specified timings also here. The bank application will be accessible from morning 10 o'clock to evening 5 p.m. only here, my application, so that I can able to work between these time durations only. Even though if I'm coming by 8 o'clock in the morning to complete my pending task, I cannot able to complete because I cannot able to access my bank application. Now, so like the same way here also, when coming to your Salesforce also, we can able to specify that login hours. Nothing but between which timings we can able to access this application here. So now for that, we can specify an option called as login hours. Nothing but during that what hours we can able to access this application. Now let's see. For that, let's go to your profile. Inside that profile, you will be having this option here. Here also two scenarios came into the picture. Like as depends upon each and every branch, we can able to configure a separate login hours timings here. Okay, separate login hours timings. Now, in this kind of scenario, if you want to configure that separate login hours for every profile user, then you can go with the profile level. Or if you want to configure for all the users, then go with the application level here. And one more thing. Now, when coming to the banking application, during that holidays, the people cannot able to access that. Here also in Salesforce, we can define holidays here. Here also in Salesforce, you can define the holidays. During that holidays time, the people cannot able to access that application here. The flexibility will be there. What are the various holidays are there in that calendar year? We can configure that holidays. During that holidays timings, your Salesforce application cannot be accessible to the users. That flexibility will be there. Nothing but we can configure that business hours also over here. Now, so now when coming to my application, now this is my SR Nagar branch profile. Now for this profile level, we can specify this timings, nothing but during what timings the people can able to access this application over here. And then Now here for every profile level, you will be having that option. When you go down, you will be having that login hours. Okay, login hours. When you click on edit login hours, it is giving that option here. Nothing but between which time duration you would like to log in here, application. So now for that, you can specify that. Now you can specify that. Now, do you want to access that application on Sunday to Saturday or only Monday to Friday? Depends upon your requirement here. Now we can specify Monday. Now Monday to Saturday. Monday at what time? Monday at 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. to that will be 8 p.m. And the Tuesday also morning 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And Wednesday also the same timings, morning 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the Thursday also morning 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the Friday morning 8 a.m. to evening 8 p.m. And Saturday morning 8 a.m. to afternoon 1 p.m. That's it. Like as a banking application. Like as a banking application, we can able to configure that here. Once you configure that, then whenever the users are trying to be accessing this application, during the login hours only, they can able to log in into that application. Once the login hours are over, then the user cannot able to log in into that application here. For that, if you want to configure that hours, then we can specify in the profile level also here. Depends upon your requirement. For every profile user, if you want to configure the different timings, then you can specify over here. Now, here I have a small question here. For example, my banking application or my Salesforce application has been configured with login hours. Login hours. Now the login hours are Monday to Friday. The timings are morning 8 a.m. to evening 5 p.m. These are the timings here in which you can able to access my application. Now, today morning 8 o'clock, I have logged into my application. 8 o'clock, I have logged into my application. So that I have performed that. All the applications, nothing but all the operations. I have logged in. And then I have accessed my application here. Now at 1 o'clock, at 1 p.m., I went for the lunch. 1 to 2 p.m. I went for the lunch. And then 2:05 again I have logged into that application. And then I have accessed that application. At 4 o'clock, at 4 p.m., I went for the snacks, went for the break. I came at 4:30 again. 4:30 p.m., I have logged into that application. Now the time is 5 o'clock. What will happen now? This is a certification question. This is a very, very important interview point of view question also. What will happen in this case? Will my system will sign out automatically or what? Now, so now in this case, what will happen is, suppose for example, when you go to the banking application also, the banking hours are that will be morning 10 o'clock to evening 5 o'clock. At that time, the banking transactions times will be evening 4 o'clock only here. Till 5 o'clock, they cannot able to perform the transactions. Till 4 o'clock only, the transaction they can able to perform. DML operation they can perform. Once the 4 o'clock is over, automatically that application will be going into the read-only mode automatically. Now, whatever the transactions they have made as of now, whatever the deposits or whatever the withdrawals they have made as of now, just they can able to get the data, they can generate the reports. That's it. They can able to access that application till evening also. But once you signed out, you cannot access that application again. Now, like the same way when coming to the Salesforce also, even though when you come to that, the time is 5 o'clock in the evening, you can continue work. You can continue with your work. with your work. But at that time, what happened is now the Salesforce application will move into the read only mode. That is, you cannot perform any operation. You cannot perform any DML operation inside that. Just we can see the records you have created. Okay, just you can see the records you have created. Now after 5 p.m. Okay, after 5 p.m. once the user logged out, once the user sign out, then he cannot log in again. He cannot log in again after 5 p.m. After 5 p.m. This question is very, very important in the entry point of view here. Once the specified time period is over, then automatically Salesforce is moving that application into that read-only mode. You can continue with your work here. Okay, you can continue with your work, but the Salesforce application will be moving into the read-only mode because the specified login hours are over, so that the system will be moving into the read-only mode. Just we can able to access the record, you can generate the reports as well. But you cannot perform any DML operations. You cannot insert, you cannot modify, you cannot delete any records inside that. Now, once you have signed out, then again you cannot log in from that Salesforce application because the time is already over, so that you cannot able to log in here. Now this question is important here, that even though the specified login hours time period is over, you can continue with your work, nothing but your system will not sign out automatically. It is going to be allowing you to continue your work, but the system will be in the read-only state, so that we can able to just generate the reports over here. But you cannot perform any DML operations inside that. Once you logged out after 5 p.m., after 5:10 or 5:15, then again you cannot log in because the login hours are already over. So these are the various features we can able to configure inside that profile level. Now, in tomorrow's session, we are going to discuss about the permission sets. What exactly the permission sets? What is the use of permission sets? What is the difference between a profile and a permission set? How can we create the permission sets and how can we assign to the users? We'll see practically. And along with that, we'll see login history and the audit set of trials. So what will be the features